welcome to another edition of The Russell Show. My name is Russell Brooks. Now, on today's show, I have the honor of reciting to you an excerpt of the young adult novel, Into the Shadows, written by Kirkpatrick. Now, this book revolves around a young girl named Pivy Anderson, and she has these secret powers, okay? Well, at least she wants to keep them a secret, because if the world found out what she's capable of doing, well, it could cause some trouble. Sort of like the X-Men. So, in this excerpt right here, Pivy Anderson is just getting used to high school and is struggling to keep her powers a secret when a presidential candidate releases a list that charges Pivy and her family, as well as those who are like her, with being enemies of the state. Yeah, it's a very serious accusation there. Now, in this case here, they're required to wear badges and sit in restricted seats in the classroom. Kind of reminiscent of the segregation Jim Crow era days, right? Yeah, it's just my thoughts exactly. Now, in this scene occurs in our current events class when the Anti-Terrorism Coalition, otherwise known as the ATC, when their agents come into the classroom to harass Pivy and her teacher. So, sit back and enjoy. The door to the classroom was thrown wide open, startling everyone out of their daydreams. Agent O'Higgins stormed through the doorway, followed by two more agents. "Can I ask why you're disturbing my lesson, sir?" Dr. Hazen-Pfeffer inquired, curtly, unfazed by the intrusion of three burly agents with their glowing badges and guns. "Dr. Hazen-Pfeffer, we've had a report about this class," stated Agent O'Higgins as he strolled through the aisles, looking at all the students closely. Dr. Hazen-Pfeffer remained silent, but was clearly angry. "These two students," he pointed at Pivy and Tyler Matthews. "Why are they not at the table they're required to sit at?" "Well, Agent, I don't segregate my students. These are their seats and that is where they'll sit." Pivy quickly gathered up her things and started to get up from her seat. Tyler, however, was frozen in his chair. He looked too scared to move an inch. Dr. Hazen-Pfeffer was staring at Agent O'Higgins, locked in a defiant gaze. "Pivy, you sit down in that seat at once," she ordered, not breaking her lock on Agent O'Higgins. Pivy plopped back down in her chair. "Oh, EOS students are required to sit at these tables, and these tables only. Teachers like yourself, Dr. Hazen-Pfeffer, are just not allowed to alter those requirements whenever they feel like. Now, young lady, go to the table." Pivy jumped up this time, so did Tyler. They didn't move more than an inch before Dr. Hazen-Pfeffer returned fire. "You two will sit down in your seats," she shouted. "That's an order." Pivy and Tyler dropped back down in their seats, confused and wide-eyed. "As for you, Agent O'Higgins, leave my classroom at once." Agent O'Higgins chuckled. He spoke slowly but clearly. "Oh, Dr. Hazen-Pfeffer, I'm afraid you don't know. I'm afraid you don't quite have the authority you think you do. But one has to appreciate your passion regarding this trash." He waved a hand in Pivy and Tyler's direction. He gave a nod to the other two agents by the door. They moved swiftly towards Dr. Hazen-Pfeffer. "Now, Doctor, you have broken the law by violating the policies regarding enemies of the state. The government is forced to believe that you have some reason for protecting EOS students, who are considered criminals, I might add. Thus, you, Doctor, you must be a criminal as well." He began to read her rights. "Dr. Hazen-Pfeffer, you have the right to remain silent," he began. The other two agents grabbed Dr. Hazen-Pfeffer by the arms and forced her down to the floor, face down. The class looked on, jaws dropped, frozen in shock and fear. Pivy jumped up out of her seat, turning to Agent O'Higgins. "Please let her go. I'll go sit at the table, please," she pleaded. "You, young lady, and the other one will go sit at the table," he said coldly. Pivy and Tyler rushed to the front of the room and sat down. "However, your teacher here is still going to jail. She broke the law." Jason jumped out of his seat, getting in front of Agent O'Higgins. "You can't do this. We have rights too. This is illegal, you know." Not anymore. Now, if you know what's good for you, young man, you'll shut up and mind your own business. Otherwise, you'll wind up just like your courageous teacher over here." Dr. Hazen-Pfeffer was still struggling between the two agents, who had put her in handcuffs. Jason turned to face Agent O'Higgins' back. "She is courageous, man. You're nothing but..." You're nothing but a coward with a gun and a badge. Agent O'Higgins swiftly turned around, his arm moving in one fluid motion with the rest of his body. His fist landed on Jason's eye, throwing him sprawling across the desk and students. Dr. Hazen Pfeffer flew into a rage. You can't do that! You can't assault our students! She screamed, kicking the larger agent in the shin. Agent O'Higgins wasn't pleased. He turned towards Dr. Hazen Pfeffer, his fist connected with the back of her head, sending her into a crumpled heap onto the floor, unconscious. A few of the girls, including Pivy, cried out, but were too terrified to move. Well, class, I think you've all learned a valuable lesson today. He motioned to the other two agents. Let's go. They went to the door, which slammed shut behind them. The students all fell silent for a moment, staring at each other, not quite sure what had happened. Jason was lying across the desk, holding his face. When he pulled his hands away, blood ran down his nose, and ran down from his nose, down his chin, spreading a bright red stain across his shirt. His eye appeared to be swelling fast. Pivy ran over, helping him off the desk. Crystal helped her get Jason onto a seat. We need to get him to the office, Pivy. He needs the nurse, Crystal said. Pivy didn't answer. She helped Jason to his feet and pushed him towards the door. She could hear the class muttering. Some kids were still crying, but she could hear the others. It's all their fault. Maybe they shouldn't be allowed in school. I can't believe we have to be in class with them. It's too dangerous. Wait until my parents hear about this one. She stopped at the door and turned back, seeing Tyler still sitting at the table, staring off into space. She just couldn't leave him there. It was too hostile. Hey, Tyler, come on. I could use some help. He jumped up startled, and joined them at the door. Let's go. Wow, that was intriguing, wasn't it? Well, that's Into the Shadows by Carly Kirkpatrick. You can get it in an ebook format on Amazon.com, Amazon.co.uk if you're in the old empire. You can even get it on Smashwords.com and even BarnesandNobles.com. And if you still like paperbacks, you can get it on Amazon.com in paperback format as well. So, I'm Russell Brooks signing off. You have a pleasant afternoon. Take care.